Have you ever felt like you're behind in life? Like everyone your age is moving forward and you're just stuck trying to figure things out? You open social media and it feels like someone is traveling, someone is engaged, someone started a business, someone is making money, and someone might even found their purpose. And you're just sitting there thinking, what am I doing with my life? And your 20s can feel confusing, unstable, unclear, like you're walking without a map. And nobody really prepares you for this season. Because when you're younger, life feels structured. School, grades, clear next step. But in your 20s, there is no guaranteed timeline, no universal path, no checklist that works for everyone. It's just decisions, responsibility, comparison, and sometimes silence. And that silence can feel like a failure at times. But here is something important. Feeling lost in your 20s is not proof you're failing, it's more a proof of you transitioning. This is the first decade where you're fully responsible for who you become. And that's heavy. Not everybody is able to bear that. Now let's talk about comparison, because social media makes this even worse. And there were nights I opened Instagram and felt like I was wasting my life because I was so constantly exposed to highlight reels. When you're watching highlight reels, you don't see the depth, the anxiety, the insecurity, and the nights they question themselves, the prayers they whisper when nobody sees. All you see is results. And when you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, you will always feel behind. But growth doesn't look dramatic most of the time. It looks boring. It looks like learning discipline, failing quietly, trying again, building on skills nobody applauds, saying no to distractions. And that's not glamorous, but that's foundation. And here's something deeper. Sometimes you feel lost not because you lack direction, but because God is reshaping your identity. The version of you from 16, from 18, from early 20s, you're outgrowing old mindsets, old habits, old insecurities, and old ways of seeing yourself. And when God starts removing what no longer fits, it feels unstable because you're not who you were, but you're not fully who you're becoming either. And that middle space might feel like confusion. But what I understood is it's actually construction. But what about waiting seasons? I I know there are the seasons where it feels like nothing is happening. You're praying, you're trying, you're working on yourself, but externally nothing dramatic changes. And it's easy to think, God forgot me, I don't know, wasting time, I'm falling behind. And I remember when I was praying to God and I wasn't getting any answers right away, and I felt so distant from Him. But I was thinking, what if this season isn't punishment? What if it's preparation? Because God builds foundations before platforms, character before influence, depth before visibility, stability before opportunity. And if you were given everything you want right now without the internal growth, I think it might actually crush you. because blessing without maturity becomes pressure. And sometimes when God feels silent, He's not absent. He's forming you, He's strengthening parts of you that nobody sees yet. And unseen growth is frustrating, but it's powerful. You don't see roots growing underground, but roots determine how tall a tree can stand without failing. Maybe right now you're in the root growing phase, and roots grow in darkness. That doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're being built. And I think your 20s are less about arrival, and it's more about formation. Formation of your discipline, your character, your faith, your emotional stability, and the most important part is your relationship with God. Because success without identity feels empty, and purpose without God feels unstable. You might still feel lost sometimes, that's normal. But I believe clarity usually comes after movement, not before. You don't find your path by waiting for perfect confidence, but you find it by walking, trying, failing, learning, trying again, and trusting God in the process. And your 20s are allowed to be messy. They're allowed to feel uncertain. They're allowed to look unimpressive from the outside. And that's not a failure, that's growth without applause. So if you feel behind, maybe you're not actually behind, maybe you're just being built in private. And private growth still matters. So keep in mind that God hasn't abandoned you. He's not rushing you. He's just shaping you. Always remember, yes, you're not late. You're not broken. You're becoming, and becoming takes time.